We now welcome Jesus Garza, City of Victoria City Manager, here to talk to us about the city charter election. Welcome to Community Crossroads.
Thanks for having me.
It's our pleasure. And so talk to us about the city charter election. It's been a while since we've had one, but first, what is a city charter?
Great question. The city charter serves as our local constitution. Some folks might refer to it as our local bylaws or our articles of incorporation. And they really develop the framework and the structure around our elected officials, what their roles are, what their appointees like myself are, and really just the rule book in which we govern our local government.
Wow, and there's 14 amendments on the ballot this May election. Early voting is ongoing right now.
Correct.
You can go early vote on May 2nd, May 3rd. There's still time, and Election Day, May 7th as well. What are some of the main amendments we need to really focus on?
Sure. So I would categorize them into three. We have some continuity of government propositions. These will center around, what happens when we have vacancies on council. Last year, when Mayor McCoy passed away, it raised a lot of questions, for what happens when that situation arises, or what happens if the majority of elected officials move on. And so there are several propositions that address just how to fill vacancies and how we can continue running our government if the majority of elected officials move on from their role for whatever reason. Another category of propositions could be defined as just trying to clarify language. We want a charter that can be easy to understand and follow. You shouldn't have to be an attorney to understand it. And so we want to clarify some language, eliminate some redundancies, eliminate some confusion that exists with state law.
And hopefully we'll have a lighter charter at the end of it all.
Absolutely. And then the biggest one that I know we've received a lot of questions on is related to term limits for our elected officials. Currently, our mayor and council don't serve under term limits. And one of the propositions would incorporate term limiting the elected officials at 4 terms, which there are 3-year terms, so that would equate to 12 years.
That's excellent to have term limits. I know that's an essential part of checks and balances in our government structure overall. And conflict of interest is also another amendment item on there.
Yeah, that item is one of those that simply attempts to align our charter with state law. Currently, our city charter has different stipulations around conflict of interest than the state law. And so we want to make sure that in order to properly hold our elected officials accountable, that the charter match state law, because potentially with conflict and sort of that distinction could create issues. And so we'd rather it be clear and be consistent with state law.
Like, for example, if you were to take a bid or contract with a company owned by any of the city council members or the mayor, they would have to abstain from that vote.
Correct. Yeah, they would have to recuse themselves from the conversation and from the vote, which that's state law. And so we want to make sure that our charter is reflective of the same language that exists in state law around what an elected official would have to do if they have any kind of stakeholder ownership or involvement with any potential vendor that we do business with.
And at the end of all of this, once hopefully the amendments are all passed, is this going to end up in long-term savings and a lighter, more friendlier document for all of us?
Definitely a lighter, more easy to understand document. You mentioned earlier that this isn't something that happens often. For us, it hasn't happened since 2012 that we've amended the charter. So we envision that with these 14 changes, it'll be a very long time before we have to relook at the charter again.
Well, excellent. Thank you so much for coming on the show to talk about the charter amendments. To go learn more, we can go to the victoriatx.gov/charter for the complete guide. And thank you so much again, Jesus.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for Community Crossroads. To learn more about our show, follow us on our YouTube, Crossroads Today, and also send me your segment ideas to my email, ciastrain@victoriatelevision.com. Have a fantastic rest of your week.